Virginia, a picturesque area with a quaint downtown where you'll find antiques, boutique shopping, and great places to get a bite to eat. Yes, this is small-town America at its best. But if you look a little closer, you'll find yourself going back in time to retrace the moments that made up a critical time in our nation's history. It was here on April 9, 1865, where 4 years of civil war came to an end. Our nation reunited, a day that ended the bloodiest chapter of our nation's history. And you can retrace that moment in time here inside the village of Appomattox Courthouse, which is now a National Historic Park. Thousands of visitors come here each year to walk along the dusty roads, just as they looked on that fateful day to see the site where Robert E. Lee surrendered.
The number one misconception is going to be that it occurred in the courthouse. The village itself was called Appomattox Courthouse, and so when people read about it, when they hear it in middle school or elementary school, they think it happened in the courthouse, because a lot of villages that had the county seat were called in Virginia courthouse. They don't realize that it happened here in someone's home, in a parlor.
During the surrender, there was no one in sight. This was a ghost town and no available building in order for the surrender to take place. The courthouse down the road was locked because it was Palm Sunday. It wasn't until Mr. McLean walked out of his home, realized what was happening, and offered his parlor as the only available option.
Grant pulls out a wooden table from the wall. He pulls out a rolling chair and sits down and begins writing the surrender terms in the form of a letter. Once he's finished, he signs his name and hands it over to General Lee. Lee is going to read it over, he makes one correction, and he creates a letter accepting the surrender terms, and he signs his name. So there's no one document with both of their names on it.
General Lee was wearing inside that parlor, you need to come here to the Museum of the Confederacy. Hi Sam, how are you?
Hi Natalie, welcome to the Museum of the Confederacy.
Thanks so much. This is a beautiful museum. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, this museum opened on March 31st, 2012, and is a satellite of the Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond, which was opened in 1896. The museum houses the largest collection of Confederate artifacts in the world, and this facility allows us to bring more out to show the public.
Remarkable stories and artifacts preserved and told so they won't be forgotten.
Put a quart of water down inside this thing. 20 minutes later, steam blows the top up and you're ready to eat.
These remarkable and fascinating stories continue and do not end here. Some of the extraordinary turn-of-the-century homes in the area, many pertaining to the Civil War history, can be experienced with just a short walk from downtown Appomattox. You can literally step back in time with a self-guided walking tour to see some of the historic homes of the area, like the Nebraska House here. You can set your own pace by downloading some of the audio files to your phone and listen in to what life was really like back in the 1800s.
Appomattox County was formed in 1845 from 4 surrounding counties.
A unique look of life as it was lived here so many years ago. There's so much rich history to explore in this area, and it doesn't stop here. You can spend a day just going through the historic buildings at the Clover Hill Village. The schoolhouse, cabin, and church here all offer a glimpse into what life was like growing up in this era. And it's all just waiting to be explored and just a day's drive away.